The first recipe we're going to be making is vegetarian enchiladas. This is a really easy recipe with minimal prep, easy assembly, and very few ingredients. So what are enchiladas? Enchiladas are a Mexican dish that usually consists of a filling wrapped in a tortilla and then covered in a chili pepper sauce. The ancient Mayans began rolling tortillas, known in their language as tlacali, around foods possibly as early as the year 200 BCE, but the earliest written record of enchiladas as we understand them today in a Mexican cookbook was published in 1831. Enchiladas are traditionally made using corn tortillas and a meat filling, but today we'll be using flour tortillas and a meat-free filling. This reduces cost and cooking time, and flour tortillas are typically easier to roll. To make this recipe, we'll need the following ingredients. Some small flour tortillas, about 6 to 8 inches, canned black beans that have been rinsed and drained, canned diced tomatoes that have been drained, frozen corn kernels, Monterey Jack cheese, and red enchilada sauce. You could use other sauces in place of red sauce, such as store-bought chunky salsa or salsa verde, which is made from chilies and tomatillos. In terms of equipment, you'll need a cheese grater to grate the cheese, measuring cups, 1 or more mixing bowls, a large spoon for mixing and spooning out the filling, and an 8-inch cake pan for baking the finished product. You could also use a casserole dish or any other oven-safe container to bake your enchiladas in, but an 8-inch cake dish works great for this recipe, as it holds 4 enchiladas. Of course, before you begin cooking, you'll want to make sure that you wash your hands and that your workspace is clean. Alright, our ingredients have already been prepared and laid out, so we're going to start putting them together. First, we'll put 1 cup of rinsed and drained black beans into our mixing bowl. Next, we'll add 1/2 cup of tomatoes. Then we will add 1/3 of a cup of frozen corn kernels. And finally, we will use our spoon to mix all the ingredients together. Now it's time to assemble the enchiladas. We will start by putting a sprinkle of cheese in a line in the center of the tortilla. As you can see, I did not really measure this, but it's approximately 1 to 2 tablespoons. You can add more cheese if you really like cheese. Next, we're putting 3 big spoonfuls of filling on top of the cheese. We're going to roll up the tortilla and put it into the pan with the seam on the bottom. Don't worry if some of the filling falls out. Now, the 3 spoonfuls is roughly equivalent to about 1/2 cup of filling, but I was not using a measurement. Don't do what I did. And you'll notice when I do the last one, we had a lot of leftover filling, so I added some extra. Not a big deal, it just makes it a little bit harder to put into the pan. Yeah, that is a lot of extra filling. This is what happens when you don't measure for the first one. And this is going to really be squished so that I can fit it in there. Next, we're going to pour on the red sauce. This sauce was very hot, so I didn't want to risk spilling it while pouring it into a measuring cup, but you're going to use 1 cup of sauce. And don't worry, yours will not be boiling hot. Now, the reason this red sauce looks brown instead of red is the amount of chili powder used. I wanted to use a milder sauce than usual, so I reduced the amount of chili powder in the recipe that I normally use. Once you have spread the sauce evenly over enchiladas, it's time to sprinkle on 1 cup of cheese. Now make sure you sprinkle this on evenly so that you don't have one part of the enchiladas that is super cheesy and the rest of it that looks kind of naked. Now that the enchiladas have been fully assembled, they will go into a 365 Fahrenheit degree oven for about 20 to 30 minutes. The enchiladas are done and ready to be served. Because they're pretty saucy and the filling isn't very compact, they can be a bit messy to get out of the pan, and they're certainly not going to win any beauty pageants. But trust me, they are very tasty. Enjoy!